Hello, who are you?
My name is Jennifer Mason. I am from Columbus, Ohio, and I am an amazing giant.
How long ago did you start stilt walking?
I just looked this up. My stiltiversary is coming up. It'll be 8 years starting January 9th. So I started in 2016. I was with some acro friends, and one of them saw a Learn to Stilt class. So they were just at the Whetstone Rec Center. We're like, well, we like balancing on things. Let's go check it out. There was a stage, a little performance stage, and we all sat on the stage and tried out the stilts that were just kind of laid out. And we got up and we started doing silly things, but also I'm a perfectionist, so I'm like, oh, I could do that better. And so I went back to the next practice and the next one, and like, oh, I can try falling. Oh, I want to try the really big stilts. I want to try the bouncy stilts. And I think Jessica got used to seeing me there, and eventually she asked me if I wanted a gig, which I was not expecting. This was just something fun to do in the winter months, right? But then I'm like, really? You put me in costumes and put me on stilts? I'm like, yes, please. I will happily perform. Where do I start? Where do I sign? Let's go.
What kept you interested in stilts? What have you learned from the gigs?
Of course, there's that performer's high that I know other performers know about. And also, I mean, regular people, when you connect with someone, when you meet people and you connect with them, there's just this like social warmth, this good feeling that you get. And doing stilt walking and performing, you end up connecting with a lot of people, all sorts of people. And it's not just the public, it's a lot of individuals that you get to interact individually with. You do pictures or do high fives or be in their parade and wave and just add to it. And that connection, that coming back and feeling like I just met 10 really interesting people or 100 really interesting people, right? That honestly is what keeps me going time and time again. Even when it's an 8 a.m. call, it's someone's, 5K for some, benefit or charity. And so I'm up at 6:30 doing my makeup and wig, like, oh my gosh. But then afterwards, you get there and you just start connecting with people, and it's that rush of seeing people in different contexts and making eye contact and adding to their lives, and they're adding to mine too. It's a two-way street. That's, I think, why I'm still doing it. I mean, I'm 50 now, like, how much longer can I do this? And it's almost as long as you'll let me, like, I'll find a way. I'll find a way, because it's that good.
That's awesome. What have you learned about yourself?
I've definitely gotten braver. I started out as a bookworm and an introvert. As a little kid, like, I did the musicals, but mostly I was kind of unsure socially. And performing has just given me an enormous amount of social practice, right? I feel like I could walk into any situation now. I'm not afraid of attention, obviously, because I'm willing to be 9 foot tall in a giant costume. Like, attention doesn't faze me anymore. I have go-to things that I know will work in situations where there's just a lot of eyeballs on me. I've definitely grown to become more of an extrovert, more of a confident person. Taking risks. Doesn't always work out in the short term, but in the long term, it really does, I promise. I've learned to take more risks, maybe do the stupid thing, try the thing that didn't work out, but then I learned it didn't work out, and now I'm just one more step further ahead. It's definitely rewarded me for trying things, taking risks, and going places I might not otherwise, being more confident as a person, and it's just broadened my people and my horizons. No question.
What were some of the milestones on your stilt walking journey?
It's funny, as I see newer stilt walkers today and I see myself in them, I'm like, oh, I remember when I was doing this or that or the other. It takes a little time to get natural on stilts. It's not a natural place to be, 3 feet up in the air and walking with your Achilles heel stretched out and your shoes nailed onto a flat surface. It's just not. But once you get up, first learning not to walk so penguin-like, right? Make it more of a natural movement. Getting my chin up, I swear, it took me like 2 years. The tendency is to want to look down, But that doesn't look natural. Like, I'm naturally 9 foot tall, right? So getting my chin up is definitely for sure. Eventually, yeah, just kind of getting more comfortable doing spins, everyone wants to do the kick, right? And then finding more ways to move and eventually take all those movements and create a character. And ultimately, between the makeup and the costumes and things like that, to embody that character and to have all the tools at my reach to do that. That took years. You know, it's not just walking, right? It is performing. And so that came along and just kind of each time, and you can see it in the pictures and you can see it in the video. It's nice to have that feedback. Oh yeah, and I'll go back and go, oh, I remember when I used to do that. Another milestone was obviously expanding into quad stilts. So I have front stilts now. I have special costumes. This year, I think almost every costume came out this year. The deer, the zebra. The plant monster, of course, which has been was the first and I think the favorite. There's been a crow creature. Oh, the spider got expanded this year and now really looks spider-shaped. It's got this big bulbous butt. It's hilarious. It was a hit for Halloween, and I hope it gets to see more events. But doing the quads definitely, that definitely required going back to practice, relearning how to walk and move my body, and figuring out what characters do what kinds of movements, and getting feedback on what works and what doesn't. So expanding to quads was super cool. And now I'm trying to get other amazing giants into more quads, and they are, and it's fantastic. I'm waiting for the first event where we get 2 quads, not just 1 quad, another. So like I want multiple quads. We can all be on quads and just crawling around an event somehow. I don't know. I think that would be neat. The other milestone this year for the first time, I finally fell. Like, I don't know how I got this far. I haven't been arrogant about it. I swear it's not if, it's when you go down, right? And we practice falling. And you think, people are always worried about you on sand or on uneven ground or things like that, or gravel, whatever. Like, no, what will take you down is polished concrete. Dangerous stuff. I went down for the first time, but fortunately, you just learn to turn everything into, that was on purpose, and this is a performance, and I had a big hoop skirt on, and I just looked like a collapsing cupcake. And it was more annoying than anything. It wasn't scary. It was like, well, I guess I'm going down. I can't save this one. The crowd got involved. It took a couple people to get me back up, and we got back, we all ta-da, and everyone clapped, and it was, I don't know, it was kind of fun. It was a whole new way of doing things. But that was definitely one of this year's milestones. Like, I can no longer claim 0 falls. So, but all good. And I got a good story out of it, right?
Share with us a funny experience that you had.
This year was my first year doing Hippie Fest, which is a fabulous event. It's got a whole age range, but there are what I would consider some genuine hippies from that era. And there was a lady who was so enamored with, I was in the plant monster costume, so I am covered. It's just a giant sweater. It was in the middle of summer too, but I'm covered in a giant sweater of polyester and plastic plants and butterflies and flowers everywhere. People would call me Gaia or Tree Lady. It's a great costume. A little warm though. Anyway, this lady, this I feel like original hippie, she looked at me and she points at Herbie and she says, "You're my pretty girl." And she points at me and she goes, "And you're my weed." And I was special to her. Like, I was that special to her. So cute. I love being special to people, memorable. Another incident is like the best compliment I ever got on stilts. I was doing a solo gig at a nearby shopping mall and just wandering the streets, the internal streets of the mall. I'm always in a good place when I'm up on stilts. I feel good. I'm smiling. And you know what? When my smile is genuine, their smile is genuine. Like you can't just put on a face for that. You gotta feel it. And I mean, I do feel it. I don't have to force it. I looked at this guy, he was there with his daughter, and he and I did a high five. And he looked up at me and he goes, "Are you in love?" It was that. He saw it, he felt it, I felt it, and it was just like, no, it was such a memorable moment. I still tell that story.
So we're all humans and we have our personal lives and go through hardships and moments of loss and despair. How do you manage to go and perform when something like that happens in your life?
It's good for me. It's therapy. It's perspective. It's 9 foot tall perspective. Because when I'm like, I'm not feeling up for it today, I know I'll be glad I did it later. Like, I'll get that rush, I'll get that feeling of love, that feeling of being special, of seeing other people around. It's great. So in that way, sometimes it'll feel like a workout. Like, I'm not sure I want to go. I just want to stay in bed and, I don't know, think of other things. It's good to remind me that people are out there and they care, and I care about them too, and it's helpful.
A lot of those times when we perform, people will walk to us and ask us, have you fallen? Are you afraid of being? What would you say to all those new performers or people who are timid to start or try walking?
I appreciate that. It's relatable. I get it. When the person that just walks up to you, like, they wanna meet you, they want to say hi, they don't know what to say. You're 9 foot tall. There's a lot going on, makeup-wise, maybe costume-wise, and everything like that. They want to connect. They want to know about your life. And so I generally answer honestly. And for the longest time, of course, it was 0 falls until I did. They often ask you, "Oh, does your back hurt?" or anything like that. And like, when I'm up, I don't even notice it. And anymore, when I'm down, I don't notice either. You do enough of a thing for a long enough time, and your body just, okay, this is how I walk. This is how my body moves. This is the muscles I need, and it's just sort of available to me. And it's just about showing up and doing it. It just becomes part of your life. And so I would encourage anyone who is interested in trying to definitely give it a go. Who knows, it may be the next thing you love. Like, how great would that be? You talk about introducing new people. I have brought friends to practice occasionally.
Yeah.
But once I brought I kid you not, like a first internet date to a practice.
Nice.
I partly did it because that was the only way, like, the week was going to work out. Like, I was going to have to overlap him and something else I was already doing, or I was not going to see him for like 3 weeks. I'm like, I've got practice on Tuesday. You could come down. I could put you up on stilts at practice. We could both get some stilting. How about it? And then we get a drink later and do the date part. And he was game, and he got up on stilts. He seemed maybe an unlikely person. And it was just the one date. It didn't go anywhere. He was a very nice guy. He'd like come down to Cleveland to meet with me. But like a week later, he asked me about stilting. Well, where do I get stilts? Like, it was kind of a rush. I think everyone should try it once. Everyone should try everything once. You never know. There's so many things in my life that I didn't figure out. I didn't figure these things out in high school. I didn't figure them out in college. I'm somewhat bitter, like I was in my 30s or 40s, and now I'm 50, and I'm still finding the things like, this is amazing. How did I not find this sooner? So keep trying the things, and you'll find your place, your niche, that thing you love, that thing that keeps you showing up, and that shapes your body and your mind as much as you do it. And I would tell people, at least try it. Try all the things.
So you kept on learning, you kept on challenging yourself.
Yeah, I kept showing up, kept taking risks. See how it turned out.
So you did the swing pole, you did the mirror costumes,
Yes.
You did some characters, lampshades.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
How are those other performances and acts incorporated?
I really enjoy the mixing it up. So I've I've like 6 stilt gigs, and like, I've got a mirror gig coming up. And just to like the whole change up, the preparation changes, the mindset changes a good bit. Just my expectations of the event, how I'm going to interact with people, I have to change that. My body language has to change for the mirror costume, which moves in certain ways. And the woman's costume, it's a straight up dress or skirt. So what you can do with your legs changes, right? What you can do with your head changes. Because your head's heavy, you got this hat on. I really like mixing it up and trying to bring in new skills or learn new things and get feedback. I'm like, oh, I could do this better. I could do that better. And also just keeps it fresh. Gives me a new challenge, something different to work on. On the sway pole, it's a workout challenge. Like, all right, how long can I stay up? Do I have enough energy to get back down again afterwards? It's really good stuff. So I definitely appreciate being able to branch out. It means the stilting doesn't get old, right? The stilting becomes the familiar, comfortable place to come back to. The mirror costumes and the sway pole, they give me something new to try and a new way to be with people and to perform and to dress up.
So what impact do you think you made in the world with your performing?
I don't know. I feel like you have to ask other people. It's so hard to see ourselves from the inside out, right? We have our own narratives and our own ideas about things, and then you check in with your friends and the people that ground you, and they'll see it slightly differently, or they'll see it better than you see it.
But there's something instant that happens immediately when people don't expect you to show up. You come up and you can see it in their faces. What do you see in people's faces, in your fans' faces?
So many fans, so many kids. It definitely gave me a new way to interact with kids that I did not have previously. So now I feel like I'm ready for kids at any time. But in a way, I think almost adults are the better audience in that they appreciate the skill, and they're mostly less scared, but not always. Every once in a while, have an adult like do a really wide walk around because they don't want to get too close. But they always smile in the end, even the ones that are kind of scared of you. Even when I worked a haunt one year. That was like, oh, it was so much fun because people are kind of scared of you already. They think you're going to fall. You're 9 foot tall. And that's part of the thrill. It's part of the thrill for them. It's part of the thrill for you, is that you are on, tiny little ballet shoes in a way, walking around them. So I hope in all my performing, I have lifted people up, changed their life for a few minutes, changed their perspective, got them out of whatever headspace they were in to see something neat, to see something different, to see a new way of being or doing. I always tell the little kids, and I should tell the adults this more often, you could do this too, right? It's cool, it's fun. Maybe it's a little scary, but I bet you could do it. You give them that feeling of possibility, of opportunity, of you could be great, right? You could be giant. You absolutely
could. So wonder, inspiration, fear.
Yeah.
Amazement.
Definitely. Yeah. I hope I brought some amazement. I hope I brought some reliability and stability to it too. I've been around the Giants for quite a while now, and I've been performing enough time to have built up a tote bag of things that I may need and things other people may need. So I've kind of turned into a stilt mom, which is a role I take to heart. So if you need socks, if you need, bobby pins, safety pins are life. Duct tape is life. Just being there to reassure them, like help them work on the costume. Like, okay, whatever problem you're on, we've worked through this before, and here's how we've solved it, and we'll get this. Don't worry. To make the performance must go on. So I hope that I've also in the company brought some comfort and assurance. We can do this, and you can be amazing. I promise.
That's awesome. You're always pushing the envelope, and we really appreciate that. And lastly, what is your message to the world? What do you want to say to everyone who's watching this?
I will come back around to find what you love, no matter how long it takes. Find it. Go looking for it. It may not come to you. You may have to show up at a rec center in the middle of January to find what you love. And lo and behold, it becomes that thing that you then throw yourselves into and you keep showing up for. That changes your life, right? That gives you the confidence and the connections and the opportunities. I feel like I found them late, but you know what? They're just as great. And I will keep looking, and I will keep pushing the envelope, and I'll keep trying things in case that next thing is the thing, right? It's out there. I feel very optimistic about that, and I hope everyone else does too. It is, I swear. I'm living proof. It's out there.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I think it was great.
I hope so.
If you want to add on something, I think we can attach on everything.
All right. one of the more fun events this year, and talk about dogs, their cats, and in fact there were two snakes, both of whom I met. I had the privilege of meeting two snakes in costume. One snake was in a shark costume, and the other one was in a Woody from Toy Story's boot. Oh, I got to meet Valentine the skunk. Like, when do you get to do these things? It was a Merry Krampus. It was a shopping Christmas horror event, and there were vendors, and one of the vendors had I assume de-skunked skunk, and I got to give Valentine a kiss. She was so sweet.
Yeah.
I wished I had hands available, so on quads, and so I just had to kind of reach out my cheeks. Yes.
Thank you so much. It's always been a pleasure of performing with you, and
Yeah, for
I
sure.
really like that you're part of this group and I'm part of this group.
I think we both bring a level of stability and
We do.
and calm. You're like, all right, we can take care of this, whatever it is.
For sure.
We will make it happen.